Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Money and Mindset Podcast. I am your host, Sheryka Alford, and she is
Anntricia Bray Smith.
Last time, in episode 2, I had a great discussion with Mark Russell from Better Wallet, and we talked about budgeting. So if you missed that episode, do go back and listen to those gems that Mark Russell left for us. But today, we want to take a look at how do we overcome the mistakes? We've it's happened to all of us. We have our budget, we have all the best intentions in the world, but what do you do when you accidentally mess up? You kind of forget to track something and you overdraw your account.
Had an accident. Who had an accident? I just want to know.
Hey, it has happened. Or maybe we just something comes up, and if you're like me, if you may have multiple bank accounts and you intend to move something one place and you forget to, or you spend more than you intend to at the grocery store and the light bill's short, whatever. So how do we bounce back from those minor setbacks when it comes to budgeting?
I don't know. I'm still bouncing. I don't know. I've definitely had my share of lots of money mistakes. Maybe purchasing too quickly and not thinking things through. And I can definitely recall the days where I was bouncing some checks. And believe me, if you don't get control of that, you can still find yourself bouncing. You just bounce in a different light of things.
Yeah. And like I said, it's happened to all of us. And I know, again, we've so often in the past talked about the emotional impact when it comes to finances. One thing I will say is if it's happened to you or when it happens, don't beat yourself up. We've all been there. And I know that one of the things you may be tempted to do is to fall into the woe is me state, and then want to throw your hands up and just forget about all the progress you've had. Why is that? We get to the points where we make so much progress and then we have like one mishap and it's like we completely forget about all the other milestones. What is that about the human nature?
The thing about the human nature, when we're in a bind or when we've set our hearts on something that we want it by any means, and we want the universe to bend in our favor instead of us changing and us rethinking how we do things or even considering the decisions we made to get to that point. We want everything to bend in our favor. And so that's why we get into that state of now, I'm going to beat up on myself, or I'm going to have a pity party. You'll feel sorry for me. And eventually I'll cry enough or I'll whine enough to where something is going to bend in my favor, which, our creator, he created us with wisdom and creativity and ideas. And one thing he does not give us is money. Money is not something he's going to rain down from heaven and just put in our hands. He gives you an idea and you put that ideal in motion to create the revenue that you need for whatever you want to use it for. And when you mishandle that, then, your harvest dries up and you just have to plant some more seeds and wait for the next harvest.
Sounds like some choices and consequences. No, but no, you bring out a very good point. You said, consider the decisions that we've made. And so I will say, if you find yourself in like a really tight corner, go back and evaluate the root cause of what got you there. And what I mean by that, let's say, in maybe April, May, and June, everything went smoothly like it was supposed to. And then July or August or something rolls around, and then that's when you find yourself in a bind. Go back and find out, what happened to, what did what exactly happened? And then who knows, maybe you need to just kind of revamp your budget and your tracking.
Well, I can tell you a little bit about what's done happened over the past few months. I mean, I ain't even got to know who you are. I know if you're sitting here looking at this and you have made some series of money mistakes, because let's face it, when we make one, it's going to have a domino effect. It's going to be several that fall behind it because we left something unattended. What has happened is we were at one time shut down. And so the businesses were hurting. People were not getting the revenue for their businesses that they needed. So the government says, let's open this up. So everything's open up. And guess who has emotional spending habits that they didn't get under control when everything was shut down? Maybe you were shopping online a little bit here and there, but you were able to manage the finances a little bit better. So now that everything's open back up, you're traveling, you're shopping, you're vacationing, you're eating and dining out, you're going out and you're partying and you're having such a good time. And let's face it, some of you have been to the doctor's offices and going to get the tummy tucks and all this other stuff. So these are expenses. We're spending because we're emotionally drawn to being free again all of a sudden, not considering the things that are going on. And so this is what happens. That's where our money goes. We've spent things that we would not have ordinarily spent had we hadn't been in the previous situations of being in our homes and being confined to eating at home and not really having to buy clothes because we weren't going anywhere and things like that. So that's a lot of where our money went. We just have to be honest with it, because in order to overcome the mistakes, you have to acknowledge the mistakes in which you've made.
Right. That's good. And with that being said, if that's the situation at hand, then that's fine. You acknowledge it, accept it, and go back and revamp your spending plan. I mean, yeah, I think it's important to pay off debt and get out of debt and invest for your future. I wholeheartedly believe that. And yes, it's also important to acknowledge that we work hard and we want to have fun, but plan for those things. And that's the big key. Is the problem is we don't plan appropriately for those things. So if you are one who has increased your spending because you are out a little bit more, go back to your app or spreadsheet or notebook or however you're budgeting month to month, and just reallocate those funds to where it lines up to prevent you from bouncing checks and running short on paying bills, because that's the main thing. It's not the problem of the spending the money. The problem is not planning to spend that money whenever you spend it. So I would just say, take a good look at what's going on. And again, which, like we said back in, I guess, episode 1, the holidays. Let's not forget the holidays. We know they're coming. And even though in our mind we may say, well, I'm not going to spend that much, I'm not going to do this, I'm not going to do that. If you said the same thing last year, the year before last, and so on and so forth, but you find yourself doing it, then just go ahead and start incorporating that in your spending plan and setting aside money for that now.
Yeah, and also, I've had some financial ups and downs, over the past several months with things opening back up and me having to delegate money in other places than where it was before. And so one of the things that I have created that is a free resource to any of you out there is 7 ways to control your finances and improve your credit score. And that's available on my link tree. You can click on my link tree. That's linktree/Anntricia Bray Smith. And you can find that resource, and it is free for you. So if you find that you have kind of lost control and you're making these mistakes back to back, and it's causing you to be in financial lack from week to week or month to month. However, get that free resource and allow that to help get you back on track to being in control of your finances.
Free, free, free. I love free. So yes, I will definitely put that in the show notes. And so guys, if that is a problem area, be sure to take advantage of that. What we say, we're fresh out of excuses at this point. We have no excuses. And listen, we don't have to wait until January 1st, 2022 to decide to start getting our money in order. We don't have to wait on New Year's resolutions to say, okay, I'm serious now. The best time to start is right now. If you're listening to us, hey, start right now. Wherever you are, start right now. And again, if you have not pulled your credit report recently, get your copy of your free credit report at annualcreditreport.com. I will include that in the show notes as well. You don't know until you look at where you are. There's no way that you can come up with an effective plan to get you to where you want to be. And even if you say, well, I'm not trying to get a loan or anything right now. I'm not interested in credit. Pull your credit report anyway, because, you may be shocked to see maybe there's something on there that you did not, an account that you didn't open. And then that's a whole
accounts and addresses and
right.
everything. And that's a clear indication that someone has your identity or,
right.
or trying to use your identity, especially if you see those addresses that pop up on your credit report and stuff like that you're not familiar with. So that's something that you definitely want to take a look at. Also, yes. Guys, I'm interested in knowing what kind of financial mistakes you've made. What kind of choices have you made that now that you've made that choice that you realize that it wasn't the best financial choice to do, or that it's taken more out of you? We said before, just because we can afford the payments on something doesn't necessarily mean that we can afford the item itself. So what kind of financial choices have you made that now you realize that you could have been a little more wise in making that decision?
Yeah, let us know. You can send us an email at moneyandmindsetpodcast@gmail.com and let us know. I mean, and it just, like I said, you're not by yourself. And sometimes whenever we run into life's problems, the first thing we feel is that sense of isolation. And that is just one of the worst. We are all, this is a journey that we are all striving on.
But I do want to say this, because I realize that things are really getting more chaotic than before. We keep thinking we're getting out of this thing and we're making waves, and then we find that we're right back in a worse state than before. One of the things that I do realize is that many of us are facing financial issues over things that we didn't properly plan for due to loss or illness, loss of our loved ones that we're continuing to lose in our nation for whatever reason. One thing that we can do right now, one mistake we can avoid right now, is to be sure that we have the proper life insurances and the proper disability insurances that are necessary for you and your family. That's a mistake that can be avoided. You can make that phone call, contact an agent. If you need assistance, feel free to reach out to us. We'll do the best we can to direct you with someone who is qualified to help you in that area. That is a mistake right now that just popped up in my mind that we can all avoid.
That is so true. Well, guys, you have heard moving beyond your financial mistakes. It's something that we've all had to go through at some point in time, but just remember, don't beat yourself up. Resist the temptation to, fall into the pity party, and reevaluate what changes may need to be made. And like Anntricia stated, absolutely, if you have not to this point gotten the proper life insurances in order, and not only that, wills, make your requests known. That that's a totally different other show, but that could save a lot of pain
Yeah,
and
a lot
headaches.
of a lot of mistakes. It can really save us financially. So
Yeah. So I'm just going to say this: pick up where you left off and just keep pressing. We're all in this together, and do reach out to us. Send us comments. Let us know. I mean, and if there's a topic that you'd like for us to discuss here on the Money and Mindset podcast, let us know, and we'll be um, happy to do that for you. So until next time, I am your host, Sheryka Alford.
and I'm Anntricia Bray Smith, the one and only.
Take care.